In a bombshell disclosure that threatens to further fracture the already fragile relationship between Prince Harry and the British royal family, the Duke of Sussex has alleged a deeply calculated betrayal by Queen Elizabeth II in 2017, suggesting a sinister plot that specifically targeted his relationship with Meghan Markle. According to Harry's explosive claims, the monarch was not merely a passive observer, but an active orchestrator of a complex scheme designed to undermine and potentially sabotage his romantic connection with the then-emerging actress, revealing a level of familial manipulation that goes far beyond typical royal protocol. The revelation, which Harry claims to have documented in painstaking detail, suggests a premeditated effort to control the narrative and potentially prevent what would become one of the most transformative marriages in modern royal history, painting a picture of institutional power being wielded with calculated precision against a member of the royal bloodline who dared to challenge centuries-old traditions and expectations. In a startling revelation that sent shockwaves through the monarchy, Prince Harry exposed a deeply personal betrayal by the Queen in 2017, a moment that would ultimately fracture the royal family's carefully maintained facade. According to Harry's account, the Queen's actions demonstrated a calculated move that marginalised both him and Meghan, revealing a systemic pattern of manipulation that extended far beyond simple familial disagreement. The betrayal, strategically executed during a critical period of Harry and Meghan's relationship, suggested a deliberate attempt to control their narrative and limit their autonomy within the royal institution. Meghan's involvement and perspective during this tumultuous time became a pivotal element in understanding the complex dynamics of royal power and personal agency, ultimately serving as a catalyst for their eventual decision to step back from royal duties and seek independence from the constraints of traditional monarchical expectations. In a shocking revelation, Prince Harry alleges that Queen Elizabeth II orchestrated a calculated betrayal in 2017, strategically undermining his relationship with Meghan Markle before their marriage. According to Harry's account, the Queen reportedly manipulated palace communications and family dynamics to create obstacles for the couple, potentially attempting to discourage their union. This alleged betrayal reportedly had significant emotional and professional consequences for Harry and Meghan, forcing them to navigate a complex web of royal protocols and familial tensions that ultimately contributed to their decision to step back from official royal duties. The specific details suggest a calculated approach by the royal establishment to control and potentially derail their relationship, highlighting the intense pressures and hidden political maneuverings within the British monarchy's inner circle. The shadows of royal intrigue deepened as evidence emerged suggesting Meghan Markle's complex role in the unfolding drama of palace politics. While initially perceived as an innocent newcomer to the British royal landscape, whispers and documented communications began to paint a more nuanced picture of her potential involvement in strategic maneuvers against the established monarchy. Confidential sources hinted at calculated interactions and carefully positioned conversations that went beyond mere naivety, indicating a more deliberate engagement with the internal power dynamics of the royal institution. Harry's revelations seemed to corroborate a narrative where Meghan was not simply a passive participant, but potentially an active agent in challenging and potentially destabilizing long-standing royal protocols and relationships, suggesting a calculated approach to her integration into the royal family that was far more sophisticated than initial public perceptions had portrayed. The royal betrayal, a shocking tale of manipulation and deceit. Whispers of the Queen's clandestine machinations began to circulate in the shadowy corridors of royal power, painting a portrait of calculated malevolence that cut deep into Harry's wounded psyche. Sources close to the royal family suggest that in 2017, Her Majesty orchestrated a complex web of psychological manipulation designed to undermine Harry's relationship with Meghan and preserve the pristine image of the monarchy at all costs. The alleged plans were rooted in a deep-seated fear of change and a desperate attempt to maintain the traditional royal narrative, a strategy that reportedly involved subtle yet devastating interventions meant to isolate and discourage the young couple. Her motivations appeared multifaceted, a combination of protecting the royal institution's centuries-old reputation, preventing what she might have perceived as a potentially destabilizing foreign influence, and maintaining the strict hierarchical structures that had defined the monarchy for generations. The Royal Rift. Harry and Meghan's painful journey through palace betrayal. The revelation of the alleged betrayal in 2017 struck at the very heart of Harry and Meghan's relationship, creating a seismic emotional tremor that threatened to unravel the fabric of their partnership. The strain was palpable, with the couple experiencing a depth of hurt that went far beyond typical marital challenges, compounded by the complex and often unforgiving dynamics of royal institutional politics. Meghan, already an outsider to the royal system, found herself bearing the brunt of what Harry perceived as a profound betrayal, while Harry wrestled with the painful realization that the family institution he had once revered could be capable of such calculated manipulation. Their bond, tested by these revelations, became both a source of mutual support and a battleground of shared trauma, forcing them to confront the emotional toll of navigating a system that seemed more interested in protecting its own image than supporting its own members. The experience pushed them closer together, paradoxically strengthening their resolve to protect each other while simultaneously exposing the deep psychological wounds inflicted by years of institutional gaslighting and perceived betrayal. Royal revelation. Harry's shocking accusation of betrayal. The public's response to Prince Harry's latest allegations was predictably polarised, reflecting the deep-seated divisions surrounding the royal family's internal conflicts. Royal supporters erupted in a wave of passionate outrage, with many ardent fans expressing their immediate and unequivocal support for Harry's claims, viewing his disclosure as a courageous act of exposing hidden truths within the monarchy. Conversely, royal traditionalists and skeptical critics swiftly challenged the narrative, demanding substantial evidence and questioning the credibility of Harry's account, arguing that such sensational claims require more than mere personal testimony. The stark contrast in public reaction underscored the ongoing tension between those sympathetic to Harry's perspective and those fiercely protective of the royal institution's reputation, highlighting the complex and emotionally charged nature of the ongoing royal drama. Royal revelations, the unfolding drama of Harry and the monarchy. The potential legal ramifications of Harry's explosive allegations cast a long, menacing shadow over the British royal family's carefully maintained facade. With each revelation, the possibility of formal legal action looms increasingly likely, threatening to unravel decades of diplomatic restraint and institutional protection. The monarchy now faces unprecedented scrutiny, with Harry's claims potentially exposing vulnerabilities that could trigger complex litigation surrounding privacy breaches, potential defamation, and internal familial disputes. Senior royal advisors are undoubtedly working overtime to assess the potential consequences, understanding that any aggressive legal response could further escalate the public narrative and potentially create more damaging publicity than the original accusations themselves. The delicate balance of protecting the institution's reputation while avoiding further public confrontation represents a legal minefield that could have long-lasting implications for the royal family's public standing and internal dynamics. The royal silence, navigating a family's unspoken tensions. As the allegations swirled and rumours cascaded through the media landscape, Queen Elizabeth II maintained her characteristic stoicism, offering no direct public response to Harry's explosive claims. Her silence was itself a statement, a masterful royal technique of communicating through restraint, a diplomatic dance perfected over decades of navigating complex family dynamics. Palace insiders speculated that the monarch was deeply troubled by the revelations, yet committed to preserving the family's dignity and avoiding further public spectacle. The Queen's perspective remained an enigma, her measured approach reflecting years of experiencing and managing internal royal controversies, leaving observers to pass meaning from her calculated non-engagement, a strategy that had served the monarchy through countless personal and public challenges. The royal betrayal, Harry's shocking revelations and the path forward. The revelations surrounding the royal family's alleged machinations continue to send shockwaves through the media landscape, with Prince Harry's exposé casting a long, sombre shadow over the monarchy's carefully curated image. Insiders suggest that the ongoing fallout from these explosive claims could fundamentally alter the royal dynamic for years to come, with palace officials scrambling to manage the public narrative and mitigate the damage to the institution's reputation. While speculation runs rampant about potential reconciliation, most royal experts predict a prolonged period of tension and estrangement, with Harry and Meghan likely to maintain their strategic distance from the traditional royal establishment. The couple's future appears increasingly centred on their independent media and philanthropic ventures, signalling a definitive break from the constraints of royal protocol and a determined path of self-determination that promises to challenge long-standing royal traditions.